Hey guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to part 9 of my Xenon progression series. And today let's start off by showing off what exactly happened at the end of the last part if you guys haven't seen already. For those who don't know, when I did my bosses on stream, or just a few of them, I actually ended up getting a Pap Mark. The Pap Mark is an item that takes the eye accessory, similar to the Zachem Aquatic Letter eye accessory. And usually when we try to make an upgrade from the Zachem accessory, we usually go towards a Black Bean Mark. And this is one of the more accessible items that we get in the game. We usually can get this from Chaos Pink Bean and also a rare drop from normal Pink Bean as well. For most players, that's usually where it ends. Once you get the Black Bean Mark and get it to 20 stars, a lot of the time just waiting for the pitch boss to drop for this spot, which is the magic eye patch. But what happens when we get a Pap Mark, we unlock another option for our eye accessory. The Pap Mark is not that much better than our Black Bean Mark. It's 10 levels above, so we'll get better Starforcing. But because it's so rare, it's actually quite hard to push it Starforce wise further than our Black Bean Mark. It can go up to 21 and 22 stars, which is a big jump over 20. But because you're basically going to get one every 100 or more runs, you're probably not going to see another one, and if it blows up, you don't really get much out of it. So for this video, I'm going to talk a little bit about Commerci and about this Pap Mark, because I think it's something that not really many people know about. The information for Commerci in general is a little bit outdated, so I'll try my best to explain what exactly I'm going to do with this Pap Mark. To be able to explain Commerci a little bit better, I'll be going onto my Battle Mage, because my Battle Mage also had a Pap Mark drop for it. Later in the series, of course, so I couldn't really talk too much about Commerci and what was going on, and I never really brought attention to it. But now that it's happened on my Xenon and I have a Pap Mark, I'll quickly just explain how it all works. When we go through and do some of the Commerci Prequest, we'll be able to access this trading post area. And basically we'll be able to do this little mini game dungeon thing where we can go on Voyages to get Commerci coins or dineros. And we can do a certain amount of runs per day. You can see here I have current energy 100. So I can do, in this case, I can do 10 Dulce runs. And every time that I do a run, I'll be able to get the Commerci currency, and we can trade those in to buy some Sweetwater items. We can also have the option of going to the CPQ area, or the party area here. We'll be able to unlock this area after doing a little bit of the solo voyages. And basically, you can party up with 2 other people to be able to do some party runs, and it gets you a bit more coins as well. I think on average you get like 30 or 40 coins a day or something like that. It's not a lot, but it's just like a slow build up on the coins. With these Commerci dineros, you'll be able to buy the Sweetwater items. Just keep in mind you do need a certain number of dineros to actually be able to do your solo runs, because you actually have to spend some to be able to buy some of these items, so then you can actually go on your solo voyages. So don't zero out on these if you can help it, otherwise you might get stuck. Anyway though, you'll be able to buy any of these items, and the item that we're going to be looking towards is actually this Sweetwater monocle. This is the same spot as our Pap Mark, and this is an item that you can use anyway. You can use this without having to worry about a Pap Mark, because it is a pretty reliable eye accessory. It's level 160, which is a higher tier than almost all the other items. You get 13 and 10% lines at the legendary line, which is really nice compared to our usual 9 and 12% lines. And of course, it can be Starforced to 21 and 22 star as well. We also have the option of the Sweetwater Tattoo and Sweetwater Pendant. I wouldn't recommend you guys buying either of these, because the Sweetwater Tattoo is worse than the Twilight Mark, which you can get from Hard Lucid and Hard Will. And the Sweetwater Pendant, although it is one of the stronger items in the game, it is 400 dineros, so it is quite tedious to get spares of this if you do blow it up. Typically speaking, I wouldn't recommend anyone pushing for any of these Sweetwater items if they can help it, just because Commerci, in my opinion, is quite tedious. But if you do get a Papillar's Mark, definitely consider trying to go for the Sweetwater monocle. The real question though is, why does a Pap Mark actually matter regarding Commerci? The reason for that is because we have a system called Transposing. Transposing is very similar to a transfer hammer. Usually when we transfer hammer things down, we can transfer the stars across from one item onto another, and then we would lose a star. Transposing is basically the same thing, but it's very specific to Sweetwater items. We'll be able to put an item here on the left. In our case, it would be a Papillar's Mark, and we can put our monocle on the right, and we'll be able to transfer the stars across. What will happen is you'll pay a small fee of these dineros. I believe it's 10 dineros per try, and you have a small chance of succeeding in that transfer. It does exactly the same thing. It changes the 16-star Papulatus mark into a 15-star monocle. Your monocle actually gains an extra star. For my monocle here, you can see that there are these grey or blue numbers. Those are the stats that usually you wouldn't get from Starforcing the Sweetwater monocle normally. You can only get those extra stats once you transpose a Papulatus mark. Even though that this monocle is a 21 star, it actually has basically the star force of a 21.5 star. You get that extra 8 attack and extra 9 stat from transposing your monocle. Basically what I'm trying to say is, now that my Xenon actually has a Pap Mark as well, I'll be able to try to go for this transposed Sweetwater monocle, and it's a very consistent and very strong item for me to have access to because of that extra 8 attack and 9 stat across the board. On top of that, I'll be able to have basically infinite spares of the Sweetwater monocle as long as I remember to do the dailies. Hopefully all that makes sense when it comes to Commerci. It's a little bit convoluted, I understand, but basically what I'm trying to say is you're trying to transfer hammer this Pap Mark into a Sweetwater monocle, specifically at 16 stars. The Pap Mark has to be at 16 stars, and then our monocle will get these extra attack stats. We have to use this NPC to be able to transfer it, and it does cost us a bunch of dineros to even attempt it. It can take anywhere between 1 day and a month to be able to get the transpose because it is a random chance, so I might just be doing this for a long time. Other than the Pap Mark, we did get a few other drops. I did manage to get another Carnage treasure from Princess No, and I believe I also managed to get another Black Bean mark from Pink Bean. Both of these are quite nice. We're just building up our spares for these items. As for the Carnage treasure, I do want to build a bunch to try to get these to 21 at some point, but at only 2 spares it might be a bit difficult, so we're just holding on to these for the time being. I also managed to get a trade in for some bosses. I managed to get a run in for Hard Will, Hard Lucid, and Chaos Gloom. Now unfortunately, across all 3 of those bosses I didn't get any drops. No Twilight Marks, no Arcanes or anything like that, so nothing too fun. I did get a ring box, but unfortunately from that ring box we only got this ultimatum ring, which is unfortunately not very usable for us. But that's okay because we got another 3 droplets from both Will and Lucid, putting us at 9 and 9. So I believe this puts us at 1 more week to be able to buy one of the items. From the Lucid Shop, I do plan on buying the Arcane gloves. I need 12 coins total, so hopefully next week I'll also get another 3 cores, and I'll be able to buy the Arcane Pirate gloves. Now the intention behind this is because I want to use the 2 set bonus. I won't be able to use it by itself, but thanks to the event, we actually get a Arcane Weapon that I didn't claim specifically for this item. I didn't want to use this by itself because I wasn't sure if the Arcane Weapon by itself was better than the fake Absolab, mostly because of the set bonus. I know that the Arcane Weapon does tend to have better chances of getting good flames, but I don't really want to spend too much money on a fake weapon. But if we are able to buy our Arcane Glove next week, we can also use this fake Arcane Weapon and have it together with the 2 set. So that way we can replace our Abso Weapon, which should be worse on the base stats against this 15-star Arcane. I know some people have asked about this, so hopefully this reasoning makes a bit of sense for you guys. The boss training this week was a lot easier thanks to the fact that I actually do have 6 job now. I have my origin skill and I did manage to at least get 1 level in my mastery node. I don't know how much damage increase this actually does for me, to be honest, but it did feel like trying to get my character into green or blue was a lot easier this week compared to the last. It also probably helps that I'm a higher level now and higher arcane force, so all those bosses are a little bit more accessible. The only bosses left that I need to find a party for are Hard Damien and Hard Lotus, of course. I do still want to get those Absolab boxes to try to get more spares. I only currently have 1 spare here on the shoe, but I do want to have some more spares of the cape and the shoulder as well. And after Sunny Sunday, I will be trying to get access to a Guardian Angel Slime party, hopefully get a Chaos run in. I didn't manage to get one the last week like I mentioned, and I just want to be able to get the chance of getting the Slime Ring. Because I already have a Twilight Mark, a Slime Ring in conjunction with this would be amazing because we get the 2 set bonus for 10% boss damage. And just overall, another 17-star ring to replace our event rings would be very nice. As for the next 2 bosses, Valhalla and Darknell, I'm not really sure if I can do the 5% still, so maybe we'll have to see after the 30% off, if we can even do it. Again, we're just trying to get access to these parties so then we have more chances of getting arcane drops. And for Valhalla too, we do actually need her drop to even attempt Black Mage. Anyway, that's enough rambling for now. What I'll need to do is actually get started on the Commerci Prequest. I haven't started it at all, and it will take me a little bit of time to get through some of these things, but I think it'll be worth it in the long run. Just being able to have access to a better eye slot than the Black Bean Mark will be very nice. The Sweetwater Monocle, once transposed, is one of the best items in the game, barring Pitch Boss. So let's go get started on this, and I'll see you guys in a little bit. So I finished up the Commerci Prequest, and now I have access to the Voyages, and I actually have done already about 1 day's worth of Voyages. I have a little bit of the Commerci currency here, I've got 39 of it, and we'll just have to slowly work our way through the questline, sort of. Not really questline, but we do want to unlock the merchant here to try to go to CPQ. I believe I have to do a total of 5 Rosa runs. I've done 1 so far, and then I'll be able to pay for the Herbtown license, and once I do that, I'll be able to unlock CPQ and get some more dineros every day. Anyway guys, it is currently 30% off, it is Sunday, and we want to be able to make the most out of this event. I really should have saved up a little bit more money for this event because I'm not really sure, I'm not very confident that I'll be able to hit the goals that I want. But yeah, we'll just see what we can do. I currently have 10 bill on me right now, and I do have a few more bosses left to do on, I think, both my Battle Mage and my Mechanic. So I'm sort of on 12 bill technically, I just need to go and get the money. But we'll just see how we go with our luck today. I want to start off with my CRA top, that is currently sitting at 19. I do have a good amount of spares, I believe. I have 8 total spares here. I'm really hoping that this goes to 21, so then we can start working on other gear. But we'll just see how it goes. I think 10 bill is still on the riskier side. We might not even see 21, but let's go for it and hope for the best. Holy crap, guys, that was a lot of fails in a row from 20 to 21. I honestly stopped looking at some point and I stopped counting because honestly I was getting a little bit nervous. Usually when you start failing that many times, 20 to 21, it's usually a bad sign. It's gonna either blow up or you're just gonna run out of money or something. So I'm super relieved that it did get to 21. I'm glad that it didn't take too much to go from 19 to 21. I was really worried that it would go down to 15. And then once it gets down to 15, it can get stuck there for quite a while. I did start at 19 stars, so I had a decent chance to get back to 20 or 19. And yeah, I'm just really glad that it didn't blow up. That was a lot of fails in a row, guys. And I'm just glad that we got that piece out of the way. Now all of our CRA pieces are at 21, and we can start moving on to some other things that is a little bit less stressful than our CRA. What I want to do is decide on, do I want to do my Superior belt or do I want to do my Absolab gear? I have a lot of spares for both of them, but I'm kind of leaning towards Superior a little bit more just because the Superior belts have a lot of fodder and I think it will save me more space in the long term. I don't have that many fodders for the other Absolab gear at the moment. There are probably a few other things I could probably work on to try to get better stars on, but to be honest, on event I just want to focus on Starforcing. So what I might do is I might try to send one of these pink bean belts to 21, see if it gets there. Like, I have 9 bill remaining, still some chance to hit 21, but I think the chances are kind of on the low side. If we can manage to get this to 21, we'll transfer it over onto our Superior belt here, and then we'll try to get that to 21 as well. So I'll see you guys in a little bit. We'll see how well this belt goes. There's a pretty fair chance that we spend all our money and we don't get very far, because 21 can be kind of difficult sometimes. So we actually managed to get one of our fodders to 21. That was a bit kind of scary. It went to 19 a bunch of times and then went back down to 15 and then back up to 19. But hey, it took us about 4 bill to get this 21 fodder. Now we need to do the second part. We gotta transfer this over onto our Superior belt here. I'm gonna tap it one more time. And we're really hoping that this sticks the landing. I believe there's an 80% chance that this goes to 21. So I'm really hoping this goes so I don't have to worry about a Superior belt ever again. The fails from 20 to 21 always scares me, especially when it starts failing a bunch of times in a row. We managed to get a 21 superior belt. Thankfully, we didn't have to go through too much money. That was a very, very cheap 21. I'm so glad. And yeah, I'm just really happy that we don't have to worry about the superior belts anymore. We just need to try to get earrings now, hopefully. I currently only have one, which is the one I have here in my inventory. We're just going to be hoping for more of those to drop. Ideally, we'll be able to spend our coins buying the things like the pendant and the ring, and hopefully not having to buy more earrings in the future. But yeah, I'm just glad that our superior belt went to 21. With about 4.5 bill remaining, I'm not so sure that I can make too many gains. So what I might try to do is, if there are any items that are currently sitting at 16, I might try to push them to 17. With the exception of maybe the black bean mark, because we do have this Pap Mark here, I might try to get that to 16 today. Let's start off with our superior earrings. Now that our belt is done, we can probably go ahead and make our earrings usable. So we got them to 15. I want to make sure to safeguard these. We'll see if we can get to 17 for relatively cheap. I want to spend some money on other items as well, like my Dom pendant, but this will have to be safeguarded, so it will be pretty expensive to try to go for 17, even though it's a 30% off. I just got it to 16, and I think I fell 15 to 16 maybe 5 or 6 times, and I'm already not really enjoying how much it's costing. So I think for now, we'll just leave the earrings at 16. For the same reason, we'll just leave the Dominator pendant and pretty much any other 16-star items like my Absolab cape, we'll just leave them there. I think it'll be quite expensive to push that last star to 17. Might get stuck at 15, safeguarded for a while, and we're going to run out of money if we try to do that. These 16-star earrings should be better. So we'll be using this as part of our damage gear as opposed to our Will-O-Wisp, which are currently our drop gear. And with the rest of our money, there's not really much to do. I do want to try to make the most of this Starforcing event, so what I will try to do is try to get some Absolab done. I think the main thing I want to try to go for is these shoes. I do have some shoes in my inventory here, just some spares. I think we're going to try to put these to 21. And if they do blow up, I do have the option to buy Rudibus gear as well. And yeah, I am trying to transition over to 21 Abso for the cape, the shoulder, and the shoe. And then my weapon and gloves will be Arcane, hopefully. So yeah, we'll just see what we can do with these shoes. I do have a trace here, so that's a free 12 stars in a sense. And hopefully it goes to 21. I'm not really expecting much because we only have about 4 bill remaining here. There's a pretty high chance that nothing happens with the remainder of our money. Wow, with barely any money left, it somehow got to 21. That was actually kind of surprising. I really was expecting it to get stuck at 15, but hey, it looks like playing on events is the way for me. I tried to do something similar not too long ago on stream where I spent about 10 to 12 bill tapping off event and didn't do too well for me. But hey, we managed to get our fodder to 21, and I'm really nervous here because it's been a while since I blew up something from 20 to 21, and I get the feeling it might be coming soon, but let's hope this is not today. We're going to transfer it over to our Absolab shoe here, and we're going to try to go for this final star here on the shoes and finish off, hopefully, our shoe slot. I'm pretty nervous here because I haven't seen any booms at a high star yet, so yeah, I'm genuinely a little nervous here. And we managed to hit on the final item. I think this is a good place to stop for Starforcing. I do not want to push my luck here. I could go ahead and do some more weeklies on my Battle Mage and my Mechanic, but I think this is a good place to stop. It is a pretty significant gain of damage here with those 21 stars, extra 4 stars on the shoes. We get an extra 6 stars here on the belt from what we're currently using. And we also gained some stars on our CRA. What a crazy event for us. I'm going to go ahead and move my Lynx and Legion around and see how our gains were. So I believe I was about 18 mil combat power, and I haven't put any of my new equips on just yet. This was probably from our CRA top here from those 19 to 21 stars. So we gained about 1 mil combat power just from that alone. Now if I did this correctly, this should be our new combat power for the time being. And we are currently sitting at 21 mil, a good 2 mil increase, give or take. Very, very good event for us today. And We still have a few gains left to go. We need to be able to get this belt to a proper potential, and same with these shoes. So I think this is where it's a good time for me to go do my bosses, and then whatever money that I get from those bosses, I'll invest into cubing these up to legendary. Wow, within 11 cubes I managed to tier both of these up to legendary, and on reveal even, this belt managed to get 12 dex and 9 all stats, so I'm pretty happy to settle on that for the time being. I think rolling for 2 lines of all stat might be a bit expensive, and I don't have very much money. I'm going to spend the rest of my spare cubes on these shoes to see if I can get some all stat lines or something like that. And there we go, we actually managed to get 2 lines of all stat perfectly on the shoes, which is great. Overall, so far, very happy with the gains, and just before we stop making gains, I do need to do one more thing. I actually went ahead and did some bosses with some friends, and I managed to get a Guardian Angel slime ring. This is because we decided to trade Sea Slime as well. I took them on my Battle Mage, and then they took me here on my Xenon. Very nice trade for us, both of us managed to get a ring. I also managed to get a Totaling 3 from Slime. I don't think this is useful, so I'm just going to leave it for the time being. I'm not really sure what to do with it. But the most important thing here is, actually, I just got 700 Golix coins, which means that I can actually buy my 3rd piece of Golix today. With 700 coins, I'll be able to either buy the Superior Ring or the Superior Pendant. And I think I talked about this briefly. I will be picking the Superior Pendant today, because my alternative pendant that I'm currently using is a Mechanator pendant, and this won't be hard to beat out with a Superior Pendant. So we'll go grab this, and the next time that we get another 700, we'll be investing in this Superior Golix ring, which will be a huge gain because the 4 set gives us a lot of boss damage and a lot of IED. Basically a direct upgrade. I just need to Starforce it up, but we do have a slight issue with our money at the moment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump onto my Battle Mage and my Mechanic, do some weekly bosses so we can grab like about 2 bill or so, and we'll be able to use that and invest in some other items just to make them usable. There we go, I did some of the weeklies, and I managed to make about 2.5 bill from just my Battle Mage, surprisingly. So I'm really glad that I have some pretty decent income from just my weekly bossing. And what I'm going to use this for is going to be on some new items. As I showed you guys, I do have this beautiful Superior Pendant that we would like to get to at least 16. And thankfully this week we also managed to get a Slime Ring drop. So I want to try to Starforce this as well to 16. These are probably going to be the last 2 items I want to work on, just because I don't really want to gamble on another 21. Like, I got really lucky already with the 3 items I already have managed to hit to 21, and honestly, I'm pretty happy just cutting it there and going for some cubing upgrades after we get these to 16. And there we go, with 1.5 bill to spare, we managed to get both of these items to 16 star. Now I need to go ahead and change this into the Dawn set. That will give us an extra 10% boss damage, some stat, and some attack as well. I just need to go to the Slime Town and pick up a scroll to change it. So after talking to this NPC, we'll be able to buy this little scroll that we can apply onto our Slime Ring, which will change it from the boss set over to the Dawn set. And with that, this is only barely worse than our event rings, mostly because of the set bonus. So once we get this up to legendary, it should beat out at least one of the event rings, probably the one I'm looking at right now that only has 6% all stat compared to the other ones that have all stat and a little bit more. With the rest of my money, I think I will invest in trying to get these both to legendary. I don't have too much to work with, but hopefully they do get to legendary, and we'll try to roll for some usable lines there as well. And there we go, we managed to hit both of these to legendary as well. And with a little bit of money remaining, let's try to re-roll for some usable lines. Ideally 2 lines of all stat like usual, but we'll also take these sorts of lines where it's 9% all stat or 10% in the case of the Dawn Ring, and 2 lines of usable stat for us. There we go, we managed to hit 2 lines of all stat on our pendant. Now I'll try the same on my Slime Ring. Not quite 2 lines of all stat, but I'm pretty happy with this as well. 1 line of all stat and then 2 usable stats for us. This will be a little bit worse than 2 lines, but good enough for the time being. And there we go. I think that is pretty much all of the main upgrades that I wanted to do on this character so far. I really wanted to spend more to try to push some of the 16s to 17, but the safeguarding cost from 15 through to 17 can be pretty expensive. And honestly, just based off of the luck that we got so far, I think that is fine to settle on some 16s now that we actually have another 3 21s completed on this character. We started off the beginning of the video at about 18 mil combat power, and now in our full damage gear and links, we are now sitting at 24.4 mil combat power. This has been such a successful event for me. I honestly did not expect to hit so many 21s. With the 10 build that I had, I really only expected to do maybe 1 item, and yeah, today was just a really strong day for me. My character just feels so lucky on events, and it feels so bad off event. I think though, this will be a good spot to leave the video. We made some pretty insane gains, and I'm looking forward to being able to do a lot of new bosses. I think with this amount of damage, I should be able to even blue dot in some new bosses. The only ones I haven't done so far at the moment are Hard Damien, which we know I can do. I just need to go find a party for it, and I might be able to participate in Hard V Healer and maybe even Hard Darknell, just depending on the party. That will be it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed the series so far. If you have been enjoying the videos, please consider giving them a like because it helps me out a lot. And if you want to keep up with my progress, consider subscribing to the channel. Take care guys, and I'll see you all in the next one.